Oh, this is big news today, ladies and gentlemen. It is a new miner, okay? And we've heard that story a lot, but this is for a coin that previously everyone was using their CPUs to mine. And actually, at a glance, that's actually a really sad thing, okay? And this is a story that is, we'll say, reoccurring. There's a new Monero XMR ASIC miner. That's those big silver boxes. They're application-specific integrated circuit miners. They're purpose-built machines. You plug in power, you plug in Ethernet, okay? And they're off to the freaking races. They're stacking coin, they're earning passive income, they are making you money. This is what's going to excite many more people. We're talking low power consumption here. If you want a comparison, you could look at this miner over here, and it would equate to probably like 2 or 3 gaming PCs, right? It depends on your specs and everything like that. But the bottom line is that means that it's not going to be difficult to deploy. You could easily run this in your house. Lower power means lower heat, okay? Which equates to being quieter, less impact on your electricity bill. This is very interesting. And some people may be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 what's up? I want this to be CPU mined. Like, you know, there's a CPU in every computer. There's pretty much a CPU in everything. A CPU is actually basically just like an ASIC, sort of. There's ASICs in a CPU. Not quite the same thing, but it is. Ladies and gentlemen, hi, I'm Drew Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. And today, we review the Bitmain Antminer X5. This is a mining rig that is projected to earn $9 a day, okay? And even if you pay 10 cents per kilowatt hour, we'll say a good residential electricity rate, you would be putting $6 in your pocket every single day. Well, look, we go to the Bitmain homepage. Is it on the site yet? Guess the price. That's annoying. Well, here's something that will excite you, I think. The estimated price from miner resellers like Crypto Miner Bros, who we have an affiliate code with, and more importantly, a discount code, punch in VoskCoin to save some coin, they're putting the price at $3,200. Coin Mining Central has also listed Bitmain Antminer X5. Same situation, they've not put a price up here. We do have an affiliate code and a discount code to save some coin there. What we have seen the trend this year is that you actually get a better deal ordering from Coin Mining Central or Crypto Miner Bros as opposed to ordering from Bitmain direct because they're buying in bulk and Bitmain is just charging a big premium for unit quantities of one. If you're ordering bulk, well, then you can definitely negotiate with them. But you can also negotiate with resellers too. Looking at the specs, 212 kilohash, consuming 1,350 watts. This is actually not much more efficient than CPU mining Monero. And that right there, my friends, is very interesting. It's going to be a very tricky situation. I'm calling it right now. This is why they're not going to change their mining algorithm. Because many moons ago, I believe back in 2018, Bitmain dropped to X3 ASIC miners. They were a Monero ASIC miner, and they moved away from their mining algorithm, and they deployed Random X to make it CPU mineable yet again. Your boy was there. Your boy had real-time on-the-fly coverage. I love mining. I've been in the trenches. I've been in the mines quite a while, and it's taken its toll on me. Monero XMR is the 27th biggest cryptocurrency. It's up 2% today. It's trading at $145, basically $146. It's down 73% from its all-time high that it hit in 2018. This is very notable. One of the few major cryptocurrencies that did not hit an all-time high in the previous 2021 cryptocurrency bull run. Per CoinGecko, all-time low back in 2015, but you can only get so much data back so far. Monero was born out of CryptoNote. We've sung this song before. A fork, or really the baby, the successor to Bitcoin. And think about the branding. Bitcoin is such a rip on Bitcoin. Not hating, just saying. Monero is actually not doing great when it comes to cryptocurrency exchanges. Some major exchanges have unlisted Monero due to the fact that it's a true anonymous cryptocurrency, but you'll still find many options in this list to be able to trade Monero. For me, I'm trading Monero on Kraken. So if you're wondering, if you don't want it, how am I going to get out of it? Well, there's an option. Keep in mind that NiceHash has been converting CPU mining power into Bitcoins for many years. NiceHash is probably the reason that Monero never hits an all-time high, because everyone's mining with their CPUs on NiceHash, and that hash rate marketplace they have is dumping all that Monero for Bitcoins. Potentially, not necessarily, but you kind of get the gist. When we look at Monero, you just don't see much. There's not a big presence. They don't have like this big flashy marketing team. Their metrics are low. Everything is low on that front. It's just, when do you really even hear about Monero? This miner is going to make more noise and waves in the news for Monero than anything Monero has been doing. Monero has a crowdfunding site on their main website. Get Monero. It's called the CCS, Community Crowdfunding System. So there's ideas, funding required, work in progress, completed tasks. They have, basically the ideas, then they have funding required, work in progress. And when we go through this, funding required, there's only one thing in here. When we go to work in progress, we do see multiple projects here. Honestly, it was more than I thought it would be. So this is cool, but if you want my 2 cents on Monero, I love the concept of Monero, but they needed basically some kind of dev tax, developer fund built into the protocol. There's just no incentive to participate. I mean, how else do you say it? There's no funding. 100% of the coins that are emitted in Monero go out through mining. So you basically need to be a Monero miner, major Monero miner, to care, to have a financial incentive. Monero has always been spearheaded by FluffyPony, right? Ricardo. Without going into the weeds about all this stuff, he's basically still the champion and face of it, even though you could say that he's professionally not in the equation. But even his latest tweet is about how Monero is better than Zcash. And that is an epic fight. Okay, from 2017, 2018, they went back and forth, which one's the best anonymous coin. And that was one of the narratives for the 2017, 2018 cryptocurrency cycle. It was just about best anonymous coin, right? Okay, so this is like Bitcoin, but now it's anonymous. So that makes it better. These days, nobody cares about that at all. I care. I think it's cool. But generally speaking, from market analysis, nobody cares, which is super bearish for both of those cryptocurrencies long term. Zcash has proven to be one of the worst cryptocurrencies I've ever held in the history of ever, in my experience. And I've had hundreds, if not thousands, of different cryptocurrencies over the years. This is very recent news. I'm going to try to hold this video until I can get the price and then shoot the video out as soon as possible after that. It's probably going to coincide with them selling the units, at least publicly, a la carte. If it starts to take too long, then that won't be the case. I think this unit will be priced from Bitmain directly, probably $3,000 to $4,000. It depends, really how much they're planning to make. That Crypto Miner Bros price does help give us some insight. Do they know something we don't know? I haven't asked them directly, so I don't know. But you don't want to be grossly off, because that's just going to lead to negative feedback. So I think this is some incredibly interesting data, right? So when we go to the Twitter account for Monero, they will promptly link you to their Telegram, okay? And so we join the Telegram, right? And you'll notice an incredibly low amount of users. Like for a top 30 cryptocurrency, their Telegram has less than 10,000 users. Astonishing, really. Very, 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 very low. You take this guy, right? He doesn't even have a valid username, but let's believe him. He takes my line. He starts telling you what an ASIC stands for as an acronym. And he's like, RandomX is doing its job. These aren't much more efficient. If it becomes 10 times more efficient than mainstream CPUs, fork it. If not, who cares? Okay. MaxAm's like, yeah, my Ryzen 5950X is more efficient than this ASIC. Alpha's like, an Intel i5 is already more efficient. They're doing comparisons. You take two EPYC CPUs on a custom board, efficiency is about the same. They're saying that this is basically two CPUs. And the topic kind of goes back to like, oh, they're BS in the buyer. It's a CPU. Performance is on par, everything like that. But I just think it's really misguided. I think it's really out of touch. And I think this is why like no one in the world ever anywhere currently should be worried about Monero forking away with their CPU, because what's left of this ghost town could not be any more lackluster. I mean, you have basically miner tanks rolling in, and they're just like, "Hey, you want some coffee?" And instead of, being, like, "Get your forks, we're forking, boys," it's nothing like that. It's not even close. Given the previous failure of the X3, it would make sense, and I don't know if it'll go this way, but Bitmain should, not build a freaking million of these and make these a lucrative endeavor so people that buy the X5 have a good experience and a good return on their buy. I have no idea if it'll go down like that, obviously. But the X3 was one of the biggest fails in Bitmain's Antminer releases ever because they made a ton of them and then the project forked away and every other coin you could mine with it went to zero. It's a blemish, right? It's a blemish on their releases. It's when they say e-waste, when they say doorstop, when they say miners quickly become obsolete, well, that was absolutely true and relevant there. For me personally, I'm really excited. Building a couple of CPU miners have been on my to-do list. I think this will negatively impact CPU mining returns across the board. There are some coins you can mine with CPUs beyond Monero. Situation for those will get much worse. And again, this is billed as a Monero miner, but there are some alternative coins that you can be mining on that same mining algorithm. I've been building out an ASIC mining farm, right? So you could say I have a bias, but I don't really like ASIC miners necessarily. I was always a big proponent of general purpose hardware, but things just didn't go that way. And I needed to adapt and, just evolve or become obsolete. Like everyone who stuck with GPU mining as GPU mining was clearly dying year over year over year. They ended up doing terrible at the end. And a lot of the people pushing that let a bunch of people off a cliff. I'm not trying to throw shade in particular at anyone. And again, if you go back in time, I was the biggest proponent of GPU mining that I knew, okay? That cannot be understated. But at some point, you look further down the road and it's, well, we're probably gonna need to go another way. CPU mining is kind of cumbersome to deploy. It has been on my agenda to pursue more heavily. Now, with the news of this miner, I don't know if I really see the point. Monero is the king of CPU mining by like 99%. That's how absolutely important Monero is for mining. And if we put it into perspective, right, there's not a lot of money minted per day in new Monero coins. It's like $60,000. You compare that to Dogecoin, they put out almost $1 million a day. Granted, Dogecoin has a much bigger market cap, but then there's something like Caspa, right, which is 25% the market cap of Monero, and Caspa's emitting $500,000 more per day in new coins, comparatively with XMR. But their emission cycles are different. There's a lot of variables here, things like that. But this is just some data I want you to understand and be aware of. And one of the big questions people are asking right now, what about a halving? There's a lot of halvings coming very soon for many different cryptocurrencies. And of course, one of those would be Bitcoin. Monero's emission schedule is just simply different, right? You can check out these charts. We've entered the tail emission phase of Monero. Basically, there's just going to be a small amount of Monero emitted forever. That's pretty much it. That's a simple way to understand it. So we'll have to see where things go. Again, I'm personally excited for this miner. I'm definitely going to get a couple of these miners. I know obviously that this is not insanely more efficient than CPU mining, but I don't think people understand the value of something that, miners are so readily familiar with at this stage. Of this era of mining, which are ASIC miners. I can plug in power. It's actually just me, probably one cable. Plug in Ethernet, and now, congrats! I'm off to the races. I'm mining. That's huge. That's very easy. And to be honest, at this stage of the game, I think that Monero's mining isn't all that decentralized. But there's a lot of big problems with CPU mining. Without going on a huge rant, just let me leave you with the topic to dig into and think about, but server farms, right? Data centers, right? What do you do with your idle hardware? Let it sit there and do nothing? Why? Why wouldn't you stack coins with it? You're sitting on huge expensive servers. Let them mine Monero, and then when you get a customer, let that customer come in and take that unit. You'd probably realize that in a bull run, it would make more sense to just shut down all of your VPS servers and just have them mining. You already are literally sitting on a massive CPU mining farm, but that would not take into account all of the other associated hardware like SSDs, HDDs, right, hard drives, things like that. But anyway, do your own research as always, make your own decisions. I'm not here to push into this hardware. I don't care if you buy it, but it's interesting. It's news. That's the latest scoop. I don't know everything, that's for sure, but I've been doing this a while, and this is an interesting development, especially for people that saw the Antminer X3 go down. And what a difference in just community, atmosphere, response now versus then. But I will also like to credit Monero. RandomX is a much superior mining algorithm than they previously had. So that's all I got, guys, other than 10 seconds of tails. RCCO, our Chief CPU Officer. Yeah, you guessed it, because C titles are of the utmost